power of waking up at 4 a.m. A poor farm boy's rise to an empire. Every morning at exactly 4 a.m., a father shook his 10-year-old son awake. No alarm clock, no snooze, button only, a calloused hand on a small shoulder in the darkness before dawn. The boy hated it. He was bone-tired and wanted nothing more than to stay buried under the thin blanket. Yet that relentless 4 a.m. habit, forced into him by his father, would one day become the bedrock of one of the most powerful industrial empires the world has ever seen. What if the discipline you resent most today is the very thing that will save your future? In a remote farming village nestled between mountains in East Asia, lived a family so poor their children rarely knew the taste of a full meal. The father owned almost no land. His fields were small and stubborn. Harvests were seldom enough to last through winter. But he possessed one priceless quality: unbreakable discipline. Rain, snow, heat, or illness, he rose at 4 a.m. sharp and expected his eldest son to do the same. Before sunrise, father and son walked silently through the sleeping village to the fields. The boy carried tools nearly too heavy for his frame. They worked until the sun rose, then kept working. While other children slept, he stood knee-deep in mud, pulling weeds, hauling water, and bending his back to the earth. His father told him plainly, "You are the eldest. If your brothers and sisters are to have land, homes, and marriages, you must work harder than anyone else. Everything begins with you." The boy's mother taught by example. She never raised her voice or complained. When not in the fields, she raised silkworms at home. In spring, she and her son climbed steep mountain paths to gather mulberry leaves. In summer, she spun thread and wove cloth. In autumn, she returned to the harvest. In winter, she mended clothes and prepared for the next season. There were no rest days, no vacations, only endless silent labor. The boy watched his parents' hands rough, cracked, never still, and wondered. 3 generations of back-breaking work, yet they still had almost nothing. One night he whispered to himself, "My parents work harder than anyone I know, but we remain poor." At 14, he ran away for the first time after seeing a newspaper ad for city construction jobs. He and a friend walked for days to lay railroad tracks. The pay felt like freedom. His father tracked him down. "You are the pillar of this family," he said, voice tight. "Without you, everything falls apart." The boy returned. He tried again, heading for the capital and a promised hotel job. The stranger took his money and vanished. A relative brought the penniless boy home in shame. The third attempt was bolder. He sold one of his father's cows, the family's most valuable possession, to enroll in an accounting school. For 2 months, his mind came alive with numbers and ledgers. Then his father appeared in the classroom doorway. The old farmer, who had never cried in front of his son, stood there and wept. The boy followed him home. Winter brought cruel hunger. Meals were bean husks and boiled roots. His 7 younger siblings huddled for warmth. 3 escapes, 3 failures. The boy sat alone, despair heavy. Then he remembered his grandfather's story of a small green frog trying to reach a high branch on a willow tree. The frog jumped and fell dozens of times, yet never stopped. On the final leap, it succeeded. The boy whispered, "Am I less determined than a frog?" When the snow melted, he left for the 4th and final time, carrying only the clothes on his back and the invisible gift his parents had planted in him: the habit of rising at 4 a.m. and working without complaint. In the capital, he found work as a laborer at a school construction site, carrying bricks and mixing concrete. The work was brutal, but while others grumbled about early hours, he was already awake and moving faster. His father's training had built a machine of discipline inside him. Soon, a small rice shop in a busy neighborhood needed a delivery boy. The job offered no salary, only 3 meals a day and a small portion of rice each month. Most young men refused it. He accepted immediately. He arrived before dawn, swept floors, organized sacks with precision, memorized every customer's name and preferences, and carried loads that burned his shoulders. He never slowed down. The elderly owner watched him closely. One evening, he held up a single grain of rice. "Do you see this? 1 grain looks worthless. Drop it and no one would pick it up. But plant it in good soil. Water it, protect it, and be patient. 1 grain becomes a whole field that feeds a family and builds a life." You are that grain right now. You wake before me. You finish every task early. Customers remember you. You are already planted in good soil. Now keep growing. That night, the boy understood his father's 4 a.m. call was the planting. His mother's tireless seasons were the watering. The years of farm labor had prepared the soil. The habit of showing up, working harder than anyone, and never quitting was the only inheritance he needed. He applied the 2 months of accounting knowledge he had gained. He organized ledgers, tracked expenses, and calculated margins. Owner was astonished. Within 6 months, he gave the boy full control of the books. 4 years passed. The boy woke before dawn, worked through every season without complaint, and turned the modest shop into the most trusted business on the street. One afternoon, the owner called him in. His own son lived recklessly and showed no interest in the family legacy. "I am retiring," the old man said. "I am leaving this shop to you." At 22, the young man owned a thriving business on one of the capital's busiest streets. He bowed deeply. "Everything I am, I learned from my parents and from you. I will not waste this." That rice shop was only the beginning. Using the same 4 a.m. discipline, the refusal to quit, and the ethic of relentless, uncomplaining work, he expanded into construction, then manufacturing, engineering, and finally, automobile production. From a single shop, he built one of the largest industrial companies his nation had ever known, constructing highways, launching ships, and producing cars known around the world. If you asked him where it all began, he always gave the same answer. It began at 4 a.m. in a dark village, with his father's hand on his shoulder. This story reveals a truth most people miss. We chase lucky breaks, secret strategies, and shortcuts. But the boy's life proves the greatest gift his parents gave him was not money, land, or formal education. It was the discipline of rising before the world, working when no one watched, and persisting when every harvest failed. His mother never read business books. His father never attended success seminars. Yet they taught the only lesson that matters: show up, work hard, and never stop. 3 truths emerge from his journey. First, discipline is an inheritance you give yourself. If no one woke you at 4 a.m., set your own alarm. The exact hour matters less than the habit of showing up before the world demands it. Second, no honest work is wasted. Every sack of rice he carried built endurance. Every weed he pulled built patience. Every number he calculated sharpened his mind. The job you think is meaningless today may be the soil where your future is growing. Third, the people who build empires are not necessarily geniuses or lucky. They are the ones who kept working when everyone else sat down. Success is years of unseen repetition until the world suddenly notices. Empires are not built in a single day. They're built at 4 a.m. one morning at a time by those who refuse to stop. Your parents may have planted seeds in you that have not yet sprouted. Water them. Protect them. Be patient. The harvest is coming.